Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about Fallout 4, Supremacy, 1914, The Last Epoch. But first, my name is Christian.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Nick.
And I thought it was funny we're doing this early on Sunday again. And Bobby was like, yeah, it's a different vibe. We're all sitting here with our coffee. And I just thought it was funny that what a silly boy that he thought I had coffee in my coffee cup.
It's still booze.
It's still booze.
Still booze.
Just early booze. It's the same as late booze, but a little more cringy.
Yeah,
just a little bit more sunshine on it.
How y'all
Grandpa,
doing?
why are you drinking? Why are you drinking so early? I'm doing
How you
great.
guys doing?
Good.
How are you doing?
How are you doing? Yeah.
I'm fine. How are you?
No,
How was your day?
It's like an 80-hour work week, so
Does it ever go lower than that at this point? I think 80 hours is your standard now.
Yeah, now you're just showing off, honestly. You come in here every week.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, exciting. I do not like the energy on this podcast. Let's move it back to the later recordings.
This is a video game podcast, by the way. You're not.
Yeah, before we get started, let's give a quick shout out here. We've got some exciting news. We've got two new patrons here. Comfy Unicycle, welcome. Seen him around the Discord. That's a familiar name. And also Hellion, new patron. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
And speaking of our Patreon, we have sent out the stickers and the t-shirt code. So you should, if you were eligible for that, you should be receiving a code for a free t-shirt. And also the stickers are in the mail.
T-shirt and stickers, Bobby. How do I get that?
Well, that's easy. You just head on down to dlgaming.net and click on our Patreon and become a patron. And I don't know, when do you get the t-shirt? You have to be a patron for
6 months.
6 months.
6 months for the t-shirt.
Yeah, we got to make some back on. It's only $5.
We end up
guys.
making $2 for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for your support. Also, a couple episodes ago, Emilio said, visit dlgaming.com/Patreon. And I'm like, what the fuck? Surely that doesn't work. So I typed it in. Spoiler alert, it totally works.
I manifested it, dude.
You manifested. I didn't know this. I didn't know we had this webpage. It's just a big button that says Patreon. So yeah, you can go there that way.
Bobby, did you build a redirect?
Is it dlgaming.net/Patreon?
Yeah.
Or .com?
dlgaming.net/ we're doing this live /Patreon.
Yeah, you said dlgaming.com.
Yeah, you said .com. I thought that's what you were talking about.
I was like, that can't be right. That took me to huge domains. Well, I can buy that for $4,500.
I love a huge domain. $4,500. We're famous. We're worth something on the .com.
We'll see. Well, we don't have the .com. I don't think the .net's worth that much, although it might be. I don't know.
Check it out. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. One of these days, like we talk about it, and then the listeners are going to click on dlgaming.net. It's going to take them to like Southeast Asian gambling site or something because we sold the domain.
Yeah, we sold
any South Asian.
We found out it was worth like $7,000. Just sold it immediately. Quit podcasting.
Going to any Southeast Asian website is gambling.
Yeah,
with your hardware.
Okay,
all right.
On this podcast, we ping things. And I just want to really quickly ping the DLG Fantasy League. So we have a video game league, kind of like a fantasy football league. You score points based on how well your players score. In this case, your players are the games. Who are our contestants this year? We have Warconius, Scram, Joe Sapien, Tegloro, Azales, Alpha O, The Lotion, and me. And we're all competing. It's fun because I've heard from the community that it helps them keep when our game's coming out top of mind, you know? And that's what it does for fantasy leagues too. It just gets you something else to be invested in the thing you were already invested in.
Right. So who won the last 2 years?
Tegloro. Yeah.
Both years, right?
Yeah, he's the reigning champion.
Is he lucky? You can't fuck with the Duke, dude.
Can't fuck with the Duke. That's I think we've learned that multiple times.
Is he off to the races this year as well? Who's in the lead?
Okay, so this year, I mean, it's early days, but
Yeah.
Workonius is in first, and he usually is in first because he picks a lot of Sony PlayStation, titles,
Right.
and they usually perform pretty well. At least the
Yeah.
ones he picks. This year, the best performing game is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with a 93 on OpenCritic. And just something that was a little interesting, Helldivers only scored an 83 on OpenCritic. So even if your game is critically acclaimed, it's all about the critic score. You gotta impress those critics, and I guess Helldivers didn't as much as Final Fantasy VII. So
Also, Helldivers had, I think they didn't have a rough launch, and then they
Yeah,
fixed
there
it,
was
and now it's way better.
they hit server capacity almost within like the first 3 days, and for about a week and a half, you had to wait in queue to play the game, and then they did the first like accomplishment, and they were like, oh, we're gonna expand the servers and everything, and they did that, and then that also got full again, and they
Wow.
expanded the servers for a second time, and that's where we're at now.
they're just too
And
good, dude. Too
at
good.
that point, when they expanded it a second time, they were like, "Hey, we're gonna also, as kind of like a thank you, we're gonna give everybody this mech in the game for like a week." And that
Uh,
thing was so fucking strong.
yeah.
But the thing is, so many people called in so many mechs at once, it almost crashed the servers again.
Oh no, the gift almost crashed the servers. That's funny. They just can't escape their popularity. They're trying so hard. I'm gonna ping my
Sometimes
second ping because it feeds in so well, and then I'll be finished pinging. Freedom Fridays is something that, past caster on this show, Amanda, and obviously all our friend, has suggested as a way for our community to get together, play Helldivers 2, just in a shared voice channel on Discord, and have some fun. So if you're interested, come on down to the Discord on Friday, and let's do democracy for the whole galaxy together.
we're gonna shove democracy up those alien asses.
Okay,
For liberty, yes, I.
that.
Liberty lube with no liberty lube.
Bobby, what are you pinging this week?
So I want to circle back to something we talked about last week, Battlefront Classic Collection. So I was a little skeptical about this game. They were charging $35 for it. I mean, they had it on sale, a few bucks off initially, but still, that's a lot of money for games that are already on sale on Steam for cheaper. You can get each one of those for, I believe, $10, and the new features didn't seem worth it. So I was curious to see how this game was going to do. And turns out I was surprised in two ways, or I was surprised in one way, but not in the other. So it did poorly. It was kind of a disastrous release, but not for the reasons that I thought. So it turns out a lot of people actually did want to pick up this Battlefront Classic Collection, but the game was not what they wanted, and the reviews are absolutely terrible. So a lot of issues with it, a lot of technical issues. The game takes up like a huge amount of space on your hard drive.
Really?
And they
Yeah,
had
it's like
similar,
64 gigs.
yeah, it's pretty wild. And that's not reflected in the graphics of the game either. I don't know where these gigs are going. But also, it had a similar issue to Helldivers 2, where there were server problems. People thought there weren't enough servers. It turns out the actual issue was people just couldn't see the servers. They were invisible for some reason. So they had to get all that straightened out. So it was a pretty rough launch for them. Aspyr, the company that developed it, has released a statement about it. They're working on fixing the issues. And we'll see if that happens. But for now,
God, dude. The game is 20% on Steam. Holy fuck. I have not seen something that low in a long time.
The Steam reviews are pretty bad. So yeah.
I had a friend play it, and he's like, the only game he plays is WoW. The only other game he'll play is Battlefront. And he was obsessed with the classic Battlefronts. Like, he still has the systems to play them. Like, and he's like, dude, there's so many things that just go wrong that you can't give it any credit at all. Like, the graphics are exactly the same. There's two new heroes. That's it. The Xbox exclusive stuff is now just for everybody, but really the majority of people play it on Xbox anyways. And so He's like, the game crashed all the time. There was like severe audio bugs where like there was screeching in his ear, or like sound effects would repeat playing. And he's like, yeah, you're better off literally just playing it on an old Xbox if you have one.
That's
Like, all right.
so sad. I saw a video of a streamer playing it, and he threw a grenade, and basically like bursted his eardrums. It sounded like screaming in game, like some
Jeez.
sort of terrible audio bug. Jesus.
How do the originals play on Steam? Like, are those reviewed well?
Yeah, but nobody plays them. Like the player base is very
Well,
small.
let's see. You know, the one positive thing is with all this press that they've gotten from this horrible launch, it probably is reminding people, hey, this game exists in another form. The Star Wars Battlefront Classic from 2004, not even the second one. Okay, yeah, you're right. Pretty much no one's playing it. 184 people.
Yeah, and I think the other one had like a couple hundred. There were more, but when I last checked, it was maybe around 500.
Okay. Oh, 1,100 today, probably because of this launch. But yeah, still not crazy numbers.
Okay.
And I do want to correct myself because last week, as we were speaking about this, I was like, they're bringing 64-player multiplayer to this new version. Nope, I was wrong. I mean, they are, but the old one also has 64-player multiplayer that was updated like 5 or 6 years ago when they re-released it on Steam. So like, they really didn't add too much to this game.
Yeah.
And they're charging more than both games combined. It's
There's
nuts.
a worse version that is inexplicably more expensive and doesn't run.
And takes
takes
up
up more
10
room.
times the most space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh,
Wow.
You have it up in front of you, the originals, Christian? I'm just wondering how much
I have
space
one.
those take up. I bet
Ooh,
you
can
it's... Let's guess. I think it's going to be a fourth.
I'm guessing a total of
Like 6 or
9
7
gigs.
gigs, right?
9 gigs.
9 gigs. View on Steam DB. Dun, 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 dun. I need like some thinking music. App info.
Dude, posture has a lot to do with like engagement. I was all slumpy and I was falling asleep, and now I'm engaged with you fellas.
Yeah, and we can hear you now too.
Yeah, I feel
look at
like
that.
engaged in all sorts of ways. Guys, not gonna lie, don't know where to find how.
All right, just fuck off, man. Oh, by the way, I was about to make a Google search, and it said, "Do you want to do this with experimental AI?" Have you guys run into that yet?
Yeah, I turned
no.
that on a long time ago. I opted into the beta.
Have you noticed anything different?
It is somewhat useful. It's about the same as when you do a Google search and you get that section that says, what did other people ask? And it just kind of condenses the answers and the information and makes it a little more like front and center. It's somewhat useful depending on what you're looking for.
So 14 gigs for Star Wars Battlefront 2 Classic. Sorry, I found it.
Okay. All right.
That's-
So they only quadrupled the size.
Yeah, I
Well,
nailed
but
it.
you do get 2
1.4.
games. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was this week I actually went to a Lorcana event. It is really hard to get into one in San Diego. They sell out. They have a limited number of spots in the game stores right around me, and they sell out really quick. So I went all the way up to Oceanside, which if you're not around here, that's about a 45-minute drive north of San Diego.
Yeah.
Especially if the event's at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday and you're hitting traffic, it's going to be over an hour.
I love this new Bobby, by the way. I love this
Yeah.
fucking wheeling, dealing, card spinning. Fucking.
Driving up to Oceanside on a
Beating up
weekday
little
in
kids in
traffic.
Lorcana.
What kind of deck are you running? You still on the ramp deck?
Sort of. It's a blue steel ramp deck. It's a really strong deck, but I
Steel?
think
Blue
yeah.
steel?
So in Lorcana, you have to choose 2 colors to play with. You can only play with up to 2 colors. So sapphire steel is what I've been playing with. Yeah, I thought, you know what, let's just do it, man. I don't know if I can continue to do this every week. And, but I really just want to like force myself to get out and do it, even though it took up my entire evening, pretty much got out of work, drove all the way up there, played, and then drove back at like 9:30 at night, was probably in bed by like 10:30, way past my bedtime. Didn't
You're
eat
living,
dinner.
dude. You're living.
Yeah, no, it was fun though. It
Bobby's
was
gonna
great.
make friends. He's gonna have a social life again.
Well, it's nice to see people actually playing this game in real life. I mean, I knew that they were because all these events local to me are sold out, but it is really a different experience doing it in person. It was a little, I was pretty nervous and awkward. I didn't know anybody here, and like everybody kind of knew each other. So I'm just kind of like the odd man out, literally the odd man out, because there's like a regular group of 8 people, and then I join and make it 9, and now someone's got to buy each round. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And like after the first game, I was just like, okay, I'm in this. Like, I feel totally comfortable and natural. Even though like I didn't have the cool like hit markers, I didn't even have a play mat. Like I'm like totally new at this. So working on that stuff, but I did all right. I won 3 out of the 7 games I played, which is more than I expected to win, to be honest. I mean, I don't have a very good deck, and I'm not very experienced. So, yeah, I'll come back later with a better deck here.
How did you build your deck, Bobby? You bought individual cards online, or what'd you do?
I did the best that I could with the cards that I had.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's Magic when it was fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah, back when you couldn't afford cards.
Yeah.
Now I've started buying cards off a TCG Player and eBay, and I'm starting to like build the deck towards what I actually want it to be, and I'll probably do better with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm playing a blue steel deck that doesn't even have whole new worlds, which are like Wheel of Fortunes and Magic, the wheels. So yeah, it's I'm kind of on the back foot here, but I'm proud that I actually took some rounds. That was pretty good. But yeah, it was a good time, man. I hope to do it again, at least somewhere around here. I don't know if I'm going to drive all the way back up to Oceanside, but it is really so much fun playing in person.
Yeah, of course, man.
Now that you've taken part in a Lorcana event, though, we gotta hear the verdict. Who is stinkier, Magic players or Lorcana players?
Ooh.
Dude, I was actually surprised about how I was surprised at how good it smelled. I think they had like an air freshener in the place.
Magic players.
Yeah,
Magic players smell worse.
And there wasn't as many. But I was hanging out at this. I was hanging out at this game store for like 4 hours, and I couldn't believe how much business they were doing. How many people were coming in, and that stuff's not cheap, man. People are buying like models, paints, cards, single sealed products. Like they're making like $50-$100 off of like every sale that they make in there, pretty much. Like I couldn't believe how many people were just like walking.
Dude, Emilio, you're right. I see the joy literally radiating from Bobby's eyes.
No, I kind of regret that I didn't get into this business, dude. Like I should have owned one of these shops. Yeah, man. That's like I didn't realize how profitable these places were, but
have
it's
the
exciting to see.
Podcast on in the background, as
Nick wants to start one, and
music.
I told him that I would invest in it, but he's
once we move to not Texas, I'm definitely opening one.
It's probably a good investment, man. I mean,
yeah, the only really big issue with them, and like this, I've talked to people who open them. I know somebody who opened one and their card shop failed. Like I've talked to like 6 different business owners. The ultimate problem is getting stock of old cards, like or even old models. Like just getting the stock of the stuff that you can't just buy from the retailer anymore. Like you want a Gaia's Cradle, you need like 6 of them and all this other thing so that people can buy them from you instead of having to order them online and wait 2 weeks to get them. Like all that stuff, it requires a lot of capital to put up immediately. And
well, they help out the game stores a lot in the fact that they do pre-release events. So like Lorcana came out weeks, even the Star Wars game came out weeks, Star Wars Unlimited came out weeks before it officially came out. You could buy it at local game stores, and that was the only place that you could get it, was the local game stores. Now, of course, they're going to go on a TCG Player and like sell stuff there as well, but the price is sometimes a little more expensive. But they really do a lot with those to try to help out, like give them a competitive advantage.
Stores are awesome.
It's one of the only original. I mean, it's only one of the only industries that support their mom and pop shop part of their business so much. Like other ones, they can't,
because they have to in a way. Like that, it's part of their business model, and not like that with.
Yeah. Well, and they also make, I don't know if they make a ton of money off of this, but they always have people hanging around the shop, and those people are buying like drinks, snacks. They're buying, sleeves or cards or whatever. Like they're there. So they end up spending money. And every time I go to one of these game stores, there's always people playing, usually Magic, but there's always just people like hanging out there. So
Yeah, you
it's
got
great to have
it
you got
too.
your Norm, the guy, the know-it-all. He's like, well, actually, there's but
Did
he
you
doesn't
have one of
actually
those at
play
your
anybody.
table, Bobby?
Yeah, there were a couple of those. There were a
It was
couple of
me.
those. I played against one of
was
them too.
me.
I took one game off of him, which I was pretty proud of.
Oh,
But
nice.
Dude,
Yeah,
and
my-
you were not there with a top tier deck, and you were doing well. So that's really
yeah,
good.
and I think honestly, because my I'm using like starter deck cards, like people didn't see it coming. Dude. Like I had like all these I guess in Magic you'd call them spells. I had a bunch of like low level spells. They couldn't get their tempo going because I was just like boop 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 spell.
You
Like,
you came
and
in.
nobody.
You were awkward in the corner. You know, you were like, can I join with my starter deck? And they're like, oh, this fucking guy, I'm gonna take him. And then you were like, bam.
Yeah. I mean, I
take
did
a
look
bunch
pretty
of them,
weird
motherfucker.
without a playmat. That was.
That's a rough one.
There's so many
Yeah,
cool
you gotta buy a
ones,
play
man.
mat, brother.
Yeah, it's so easy to pick up your cards. Anyway, yeah, they're good. There's a reason they exist.
Inked gaming for the play mats. Awesome.
Bobby, I'm literally sitting on all these brand new fucking Fallout fucking commander decks. I have nobody to play with. Please,
All right. Well, if you
Did
teach me Commander, I'll play.
come over. All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I do want to check that out though.
Maybe, yeah, okay. So what else? God, what? I swear it's a video game podcast, and I'm gonna talk about a TV show.
Dude, come on.
Yeah, it's called Silo.
This is the segment we're supposed to talk about non-game things sometimes. So
Yeah. It's just like whatever. Silo is a very Fallout vibe show. It was originally a 3-part book series called of the same name. And it's about post-apocalyptic place where people live in these very, very tall tubes, these silos. They're like 200 floors down or whatever. And it's poison outside, and you can't go out there unless you say, I want to go outside, in which case it's by law. They have to let you out, and then they watch you die on the cameras. And it's pretty good. It's a very good. It looks good. Acting's good. Story was very intriguing on the first episode. Sam finished the season, and she was sick, so she just sat home and watched the whole thing the next day. But yeah, check it out if you want to watch the Fallout show before Fallout comes out. This is pretty good. I highly recommend it.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty interesting. I like End of the World.
It's my favorite
Not as much as
setting.
I like space. And then remember, I don't like space as much as I like fantasy. But
Yeah, I remember.
and just everybody else in the world agrees. So speaking of the aspect that, or the realm that not many people talk about, is the Wild West realm. Magic the Gathering is going to the Wild West, but I saw something that caught my eye today, of all things, about Red Dead Redemption. This guy, his username is JavC13, came up with a new rule set for playing Red Dead Redemption. And I love custom rule sets for games. Like for Pokemon, you can play the Nuzlocke challenge, which means when one of your Pokemon faints, you have to set them free. You have to get rid of them, and you can never use them again. Now, in this Red Dead Redemption challenge, not to get too much into it, but basic things are removed from the ammo counter to the mini map and all sorts of things. So like you have to actually listen to the quests. You have to actually like listen to all the things that are like lore based or like accurate to the game, right? It's like you have to read the street signs to know where you're going. You have to do all these other things. So it's a pretty interesting way to play. The full Reddit post, there is a link that is available, but it's the full Reddit post explaining all the rules is you can find it on Game Rant, or you can just search hardcore Red Dead Redemption and you'll find it no problem.
Is it a mod or these settings you can adjust in game?
There's settings that you can adjust in game. Yeah,
Okay.
there's self-imposed rules, but you can go in the game and you can like turn off minimap, turn off aim assist, turn off ammo counter. And that's one of the big one is to turn off the ammo counter, because you're constantly like, some of the guns hold 12 rounds because they're long rifles that have small bullets or like all this other stuff. But the idea that like you have like a revolver and you don't know how many bullets you have left is like a big deal, you know?
Yeah, you have to count them in your head. The only thing that for some reason it reminded me in EverQuest, XP was so slow in HAL levels that people would take tape and put it over their XP bars because it was just, you could play for hours and we would talk about how many pixels you gained in hours. So like 4 hours would get you 1 pixel. And it's just like, it was so depressing. You would just put black tape over.
What a different game.
So sad.
Yeah.
I remember playing Fallout New Vegas with, in game they had a hardcore rule set. And I remember that being pretty fun. Like you had to like eat, you had to rest every certain amount of time.
What's funny is that we're going to move on to highlights and we're going to talk about that. I got to play Fallout 4 a fuck ton this week. I decided to play it because you know what? It's Fallout week in this house, and it's going to be Fallout week until the Fallout show comes out. One of my friends who's never played Fallout decided to play Fallout for his first time in his life. He's never played one. And we're like, hey, you should play Fallout 4. It's the most recent and like the easiest to learn, I guess you can say. And in my friend group, when one person plays Fallout, we all play Fallout. Started a new save. For the first time, I'm not playing on very hard and I'm not playing on survival mode. For those who don't know what survival mode does, it makes it so that your ammunition has a weight to it. So like if you're carrying around like 3 missiles, it's not just weightless. It'll be like 22 pounds. You have to eat and drink. But the biggest problem of them all, or I shouldn't say problem, but biggest factor of it all is you cannot fast travel at all. You have to walk.
That's an in-game setting?
It's an in-game setting. Like it is just there. Like there's no getting around it. It's very interesting. Decided I'm not doing that because I've beaten the game so many times, and I'm just gonna play for shits and giggles.
Yeah, like you have nothing to prove to anybody, dude.
Exactly. I'm not trying to get achievements. But it's dude, it's still such a fun game. I'm discovering new shit that every time I play this game, I discover new things. And so yeah, you can pick it up right now, the game and all the DLC for $10 on the Steam sale.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Fallout, Christian?
Yeah, I just said I played Fallout New Vegas, but I haven't played Fallout 4, which is, I guess, slightly intriguing to me. I don't know.
You're gonna like the base building system.
I know they have that base building, and I saw a mod, or maybe Emilio talked about a mod a long time ago that made the base building system like the main part of the game.
Yeah.
So there's
mods for anything.
There's a mod that does that, but there's a mod that's kind of like an in between where it doesn't make it the whole game, where it really improves the base building system. And what you can do is you can allow the NPCs to build their own things. But you can set you can set parameters. You can be like, okay, we need 2 defense buildings. We need like housing for everybody, and then the NPCs will build them. And what's crazy is like you pick up innocuous items for scrap. And so when you do that, you really are just picking up like desk fans and bullshit. But when you do that mod, use that mod, it puts those desk fans like on display and like they're being used and they're like in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But if you do, go ahead.
They're just like paperweights usually. You just sell them or whatever, right?
Yeah, you sell them or you just scrap them immediately. Like it's pretty fun. Yeah, dude, if you've never played a Fallout game or if you've never played Fallout 4, just pick it up for $10. You'll lose like 20 hours of your life immediately. It's such a fun game.
Sort of as an adjacent, I posted something in the Discord. 37, I think the number was, % of all Steam purchases go unplayed in people's libraries.
So crazy.
37?
30.
That's
it was
so
nuts.
nuts.
30. I'm gonna look up the exact number now, but it was in the 30s. It was too high. And so I thought Bobby's rule is remember, if you purchase games, especially big ones like Fallout, that you're like, oh, I'll have like a week of time in the future in some nebulous world. No. Yeah, it's unplayed 32.7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian with the stats.
Yep.
Do you have any stats on
like I said.
Supremacy 1914?
No, dude. Other than I've been playing it for too fucking long. So, I've been playing Supremacy 1914. I wanted to play Helldivers this week, but life was crazy. So, when life is crazy, I say, what about those
World War
MMO?
One.
Yeah, World War One. Yeah, and it's funny. I was thinking of the shower. Sometimes Emilio will just randomly say facts about World War One. Like this has happened maybe 4 or 5 times since I've known. Like, did you know they used to drop nails from the biplanes in World, like just randomly? So I was going to invite you. Do you have a World War One fact you'd like to share with the group to get it out of the way?
And not interrupt.
Yeah.
You can watch. There's pictures and videos of people drowning in mud and people just walking away from them because you can't help your buddies. They're just, as they were marching, they're just fucking drowning in mud, dude. And you just fucking later feel like their horses, their everything, just so much mud. They were all dying. It was terrible.
That is absolutely horrifying. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now bring it back from that, dude.
Now
Make this
bring
a
it back
happy
to-
review.
Yeah. So, this is an MMO RTS set during World War One, and games take about a month to complete. So, it's the basic premise of like a Risk or something like that, a little bit more deeper strategy. And when you say your unit needs to move from one province to another or attack someone else, that probably takes around 12 hours, right? So it's not like a turn-based like Risk. It does take real time, but the orders take so long that really you're checking this like once or maybe twice a day or maybe 5 times a day if you're me and you're tryharding, but only for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes at a time. I played a lot of these types of games in my childhood, games like Battle Dawn and Tribal Wars before they were pay to win, back when they were just in the browser. You would go with like some friends, you would all go in the same area, and then you'd play the game for a month and maybe forget about it until next year where you're like, oh, remember that thing we did? Yeah, that was kind of fun. So this is like that, except this is extremely pay to win, in your face pay to win. They have these things called gold marks. They do all sorts of crazy things. They instantly finish unit production. They raise morale of your provinces. They give you resources. Like, if you have money, you can win every round of Supremacy 1914. But there is still a level of strategy here that is fun. It's still fun for me. And I haven't gone up against anyone where I've been like, oh, they're obviously gold marking. So far, everyone I've been up against seems to have the same limitations that I do. They don't get a bunch of resources. They don't get a bunch of units randomly. So I feel I haven't gone up against any whales yet. Yeah, and this is kind of a shameless open plug to the community that if you like these games running in the background where you can do maybe 1 or 2 things every day and play it casually, come play with me. Come play Supremacy 19. We'll join a map together. We won't tell anyone. We'll encircle the enemy. They won't know what's coming. It'll be a fun time. My best game right now is Nubia, which is the area right under Egypt. And so far, I've conquered most of Africa, and I'm going up against the Persian Horde, the player who has united the Arab Peninsula, and he is crossing the Red Sea against me. And it's going to be a battle of the ages, folks. We're talking battleships, tanks, artillery. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge for me actually not to check that right now because I think my troops are going to get there in a couple hours, and I just kind of want to watch it happen, the thrill.
The Thriller in Manila is going to go down around June 1st. He's going to live stream it. That's how long it's going to take for you guys to fucking meet each other. Yeah. Nothing sounds worse to me than what you described right now. This sounds so bad.
What? Why? What elements sound bad? Let's
because he's a goddamn caveman. What do you think? Why?
It's a persistent game that calls to your attention throughout because it's going so slow. It's like if you took StarCraft and then made it 10,000 times slower.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
In some ways, yes.
All right. Well, there you go. It sounds
bad. All right. Well, we can move on from. No one else has any comments. Nick, Bobby, they don't want to play with me. If you're out there,
never. You could not pay me to play that with you. I would rather kick my mother in the face and play that video.
Can we like? I just want to understand the hate, because this to me is like maybe one of
Dude,
the best
it's
games ever.
boring. It's slow. I have ADHD, dog. I need either guns, boobs, or explosions. That's the only way you're gonna keep
all
my
three.
attention. Like you're just. I struggle to play Magic when people take too long on their turn. I want to kick them in the fucking shin under the table.
Bobby,
That's.
How does this look to you, Bobby?
Yeah, not interested. I can't do it, man. I'm sorry.
Fucking nerd.
And yeah, it is frustrating when people take too long on a turn, man. I don't have that problem in person. Like I'll give someone all day, but when I play online, like a card game online, I'm like, dude, there's literally like 3 lines. Like that's figured out, man. Like your turn shouldn't take this long. You have 2 cards and that's it. Like, pet peeve. Anyway, let's talk about the Last Epoch. So Emilio and I played this today, and I've been playing it throughout the week. And of course, I'm going to draw all sorts of comparisons to Diablo 4 because I spent way too much time in that game. The first thing I noticed about the Last Epoch is you can't customize your character. Sure, you can choose your class and you can choose like a subclass, but you can't choose any physical customizations to your character, change their hair color, skin color, anything like that. You just get the default one. And at first I was like, that's a little weird, but of course, in these games, it doesn't really matter because your character is a pretty small on the screen, and you put a helmet on and you can't tell anyway. You get some armor. It's like, it doesn't really even matter.
And I guess narratively, it kind of helps too, right? If like Jane the Necromancer instead of Emilio the Necromancer, because everything's written for Jane already, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you still get to name your character, although I don't know if it has shown up in any of the dialogue because I skip all of it.
You do get to name your character, but I did not. I went with 2 periods.
Oh, you're playing as well?
I'm talking as if I'm Bobby. Sorry.
No, he's making fun of me.
I'm dumb.
No, it's yeah. You know, I haven't been paying attention to the story at all. Although I will say it is interesting that they do the whole time travel thing. So the game's called The Last Epoch, and I've noticed when you go to the map, there's different areas. You start in -12 BE, and it looks like there's another map called like -6000 BE. So you go back 6,000 years in the past, and then you go forward like a couple hundred years, I think, and then there's another map. Yeah, probably. BE probably is before Epoch, okay. I would imagine. And then, again, I didn't read any of the dialogue. Don't know what's going on here. Just kind of piecing it together from the mini-map. But there's another map that just says the end of time. So that place must be interesting. I'm sure that's like the final area. So that's kind of cool. What I'm really impressed with is the complexity of the progression in it. So you have your passive skill tree, which is what you're used to in every other game. That's your typical talent tree. But on top of that, you have a talent tree for every ability that you have. And then there's all sorts of things you can do with crafting, blessings, idols. Like there's just so many ways that you can modify your items. There's just a lot to it. But I need to get deeper into the game before I can speak authoritatively on it, but it seems like it's a little more complex than what Diablo 4 has. Diablo 4, it's just like your typical skill tree, and then you just re-roll items, you try to get sockets, you modify the items. It's all about just customizing the items. And then they have that other thing, I can't remember what it is, but they have like one other like skill tree thing, or it's kind of like the blessings, I imagine, in this. But it's a good game. What I haven't set up yet, but what I thought was really interesting is the loot filters. So a problem in all of these games is dealing with the loot, because God, I remember when Diablo 3 came out and it was just so much loot and all of it was garbage and it was just so much clutter, and they eventually addressed that and they just made enemies drop less loot. But in this game, what you can do is create filters so you won't even see the loot if it isn't relevant to you. And when you're first starting to play the game, it's really hard to tell, like, what should I be looking for? Obviously, if you're playing a paladin or a warrior, they're going to wear heavier armor, so you want to see that stuff. Maybe you're not interested in anything that is like the base
Cloth
gear.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, cloth, but also the rarity level. You don't want to see anything that's just like common or even uncommon. So you're just looking for rare and legendary. You can filter all that stuff out, and you can even load these. So you can go to a website and just search for what's the most popular loot filter for like a new Paladin Sentinel player, and they'll have one there. You just download it and it's tell you, yeah, it just cuts out all this crap and just shows you this stuff, and it makes the looting is always like kind of the least fun parts of these games, so it makes that part a little bit better, which I thought was really cool. But I'm really just getting started in this game. I'm level 15. I'm like just getting into it.
So a little more on the crafting and the loot filter. So the crafting works as so you'll have an item, and the item has its crafting potential. Let's say it's 15 on this sword. And then you have prefixes and suffixes. Let's just call them their bonuses, right? Like this gives you 5 more health, and it does 10 more poison damage. Let's just say there's tons of stats, but let's just cut it down to that. Let's say you could use the health, but you're not poisoned, but you love the sword because it has crazy damage. You can remove the part that's giving you the poison damage, take the part from another sword that does fire damage, and put it on this sword by removing the suffix. So you remove the suffix off that one, you put it on this one. But of course, you can fail at any part of this crafting because you're like ripping this enchantment out of this thing and stuffing it into this one. So you could fail. And then also you can like roll high or roll low, so you might get the fire, but it only be +1, or you could roll it and get +10. Now every time you fuck with this sword, its crafting potential is dropping, and that's randomized too. So once that sword gets to 0, you can't fuck with it anymore. So hopefully you got it dialed in right where you wanted by the time you got it. Now as far as the crafting filters, I mean the loot filters, say keep using this fake sword that I made. You don't have a sword, or you don't have anything that has fire damage on it, so you can sort your loot, even if it's stuff not for your character. Anything that has fire damage, you can be like, anything that has fire damage on it, make it yellow. So as soon as it drops on the floor, you can pick it up, destroy it, rip the enchantment, and put it on there. And so you're actively working on, as you're playing, you're actively crafting this thing and trying to make it perfect. I thought it, so not only are you customizing your character, you're customizing every piece of loot if you want to. Yeah, I mean, you can really, really fucking dial it in. It's pretty complex as far as ARPGs go, but I can imagine the replayability is pretty crazy on this. And then Bobby said that you can each skill has its own skill tree, but not all. You're not using the skill tree for every skill, only the ones that you elevate to that position. So you get a ton of skills. You pick your 5 favorites. Of those 5 favorites at the beginning of the game, 2 of them you can put it, like elevate it to your specialty. So like right now my minions are my specialty, so I'm making, because I'm playing necromancer, of course, I'm specializing in them. So my skeletons are getting their own XP on the side all the time, and they have their own skill tree. But I could play a necromancer with none of that, and I could put like, I could specialize in lifesteal or whatever it is. And so yeah, it's all about like nitty gritty stuff here. Get in the shop, work on tinker, or you could just play straight up and not deal with any of this. I think it's a pretty good game. I hope I get more time to play it.
From what you guys were talking about, it sounds awesome, like way more in depth than Diablo, which for me, the best part about Diablo was the character customization. I don't understand really the appeal of Like I click around, I hit button. Like I guess it was too easy. Maybe I was playing it on too easy of a difficulty. So
No, that's the worst or the least enjoyable part about these games. It's like I don't like to use analogies, but it's kind of like working on a car that you're going to enter into a drag race. You know, you're just going to drive it for 10 seconds in a straight line to see how fast it can go, right? Like that's not like the exciting part is like doing all the customizations under the hood to get it to go fast, putting on the flame
right,
decals and stuff. And then, you do your
that
10
goes.
second run. Yeah. I think when I think I made I made the example when I was talking about Diablo 4 last year. I said it's like building a blender because you're just trying to
Two
like build
allegories in one Bobby thing?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm referring back to a previous allegory.
This is an allegory of an allegory.
I don't know if it's technically an allegory. It's not really a story. It's just more of a, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's like you're building a killing machine. You're trying to make it really efficient. Now, when you take the killing machine out for a drive and like see how it performs, it's kind of interesting, but really it's not that exciting because especially in Diablo 4, maybe they've corrected this, but when I played, it was just like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again for hours and hours just to like get loot, and then you try to make stuff, try to make your killing machine a little bit better, and then you kill things faster. But like you're basically running the same dungeons, doing the same spell rotations, fighting the same bosses. It gets very repetitive. The real joy in these games is the fine tuning of the items, of the abilities, the theory crafting, all that stuff. That's where it's at. And I think it took them a while to realize that too. Like with Diablo 3, I think they thought like, no, people are going to enjoy clicking on a bunch of stuff and killing monsters. Like, no, we just, and then they came out with like the Nephilim rifts and stuff. And it was just like, okay, you can just make this infinitely harder. So I think they kind of course corrected to cater towards people who want to do this stuff. And I think this game, Last Epoch, really delivers on that. I'm kind of curious as to where Path of Exile is, because Emilio and I played that so long ago. I remember we were playing it when we were first talking about starting this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. And that was
We
the
might
last
have
time
talked about it on the first episode or the first three for sure, or one of the three.
Yeah, I think so.
It was very Smite heavy, and there was Path of Exile was big at the time. I know it looks a lot better. They've been upgrading the graphics throughout the years, and they, like I was telling you earlier, they teased part 2, but it seemed to never have happened.
Yeah,
well, when I
Division
googled
says
it,
there's a PoE 2 coming out in Twitch chat.
Yeah, when I googled it, it said June. They actually had a release date. It was June something of 2024. So looks like that is coming out
coincides with
soon.
the Battle of the Sinai. Fuck. So much exciting things are happening in June for me.
They're I'm not even gonna talk about whatever he's talking about.
June's turning out great for Sniper.
Fuck, I forgot what it boggled my mind, and now I'm fucking done.
Okay, that's the alcohol talking. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention.
I'm having coffee this time, actually.
Are you? Oh, that's awesome.
Try to keep up, man.
Yeah. You had a great cat mug. So it's 77% positive on Steam, and what you guys are saying makes it seem like kind of an awesome game. So I was just scrolling through the negative reviews. This game is always online because a lot of reviews talk about server issues on launch, which is where the most of the
You can play
negative
offline. It has an
Yeah,
option.
when I launched the game, the first thing that pops up is, do you want to play offline? Which I thought was really strange too. I'm not used to seeing that these days with games.
And the online part, I mean, for me at least, was when I was in town, I saw other players running around, and that was the extent of it.
And they all look the same.
And they all look the same, yeah.
No character.
Especially at the low
Not
levels.
much to
'cause
look
we're all-
at.
Yeah.
We're all running around in rags.
Nobody's got their helmets yet.
Oh, speaking of character models, should I? Yeah, I could probably say this. So JP Diddy, his birthday only comes around every 4 years because he's born on a leap year, and it passed, and I totally fucking, like a real one passed, and I totally fucking forgot about it. So I was like, oh, I got to get him something good because I forgot about his birthday, and so I went to Hero Forge, and this is not a fucking plug, and made his D&D character with their tools that they have there. I could not believe how fucking sweet that thing came out. I mean, it's a render.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like the amount of detail that you can do is crazy.
Yeah, I was so happy with it. It's a piece of plastic, and you're paying $70. I went with I went all out for it. I got all the bells and whistles. But $70 for a piece of plastic, but it looks so fucking dope. I'm super happy with it. I hope.
Can we get some pictures in Discord?
Yeah, I'll try.
I mean, not right now, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and then it was funny. Thank you, Tagloro, because I had lost. I don't even have Roll20 account. I don't know. I haven't been on there in years. So I was like, I need information on his info. And Tagloro had fucking chat logs, and he went in and pieced out everything that I would need. He's like, this is what he was. This is where he's from. This is what he looks like. This is what he uses.
What a Duke, dude.
What the Duke.
Showing
what a
up
fucking
every day.
gangster.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so nice. So, yeah, I ordered that, and he should be getting it. I think if you don't want to spend $70, I think if you get the non-premium plastic, whatever, and then non-colored, I think is the cheapest version. I think it's like $25 or 15 even.
That's super accessible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. But John JP Diddy certainly deserves all the premium editions. So I'm glad you got that for him.
Yeah.
On the radar, games we are excited to play. Bobby. Ooh, I looked at this one. This one seems awesome.
Yeah, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I did want to shout this out. This game is called Shire Room 1. So it's called Room 1 because this is the first part of many rooms that are to come. But this Shire Room 1 game is a tower defense game, and it's a really good conceit here. You're a kid playing in his room with his action figures, his army men, like his toy dinosaur, all these things,
Legos,
and you're setting them
So
up
good.
like it's a tower defense game. So when you place like a turret, you see the little kid's hand and he places the toy turret there, and the enemies march forward and they mow him down. Like I looked at it and I was like, God, this looks like Toy Story almost in a weird way. It looks like a knockoff Toy Story. Like it's not exactly Pixar quality, but it's kind of close. But I just thought, man, that's such a good idea because I mean, I don't know if kids even play with stuff like this, but I certainly did, man. I always had like action figures and toys, and I would just make like weird stories or battles between them. So it's just kind of a cool idea. I don't know if the reviews say the game's like pretty good. I mean, it's short, but they say it's pretty good. But I just thought that was a cool idea worth shouting out.
well, they're giving Room 1 away for free. This is going to be like an episodic thing, and then and it's 93% with 410 users right now. So yeah, that
Pretty
sounds
good.
fucking
That's pretty
sweet.
cool.
That is pretty good.
I like it.
Ooh,
Awesome.
Been
why
liking
can't I
tower
play
defense lately.
Although I do got to say this, every time I'm like, I used to do that when I was a little kid, and then I try it now, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I was a retard when I was back then, or when I was that young. So anyway, like, how is this appealing? Wrong
All
use of
right.
word there. Oh well.
Nobody wants to die, Emilio.
Yeah.
Certainly I don't.
So Pyronical put this up there. There's no gameplay of this yet. There's a couple screenshots because you just can't find gameplay, but the trailer's so good that people are chatting it up. So it's 29 in the future. New York City. It's kind of like LA Noir because it had kind of like Art Deco cyberpunk. It's a very cool look for sure. And then time manipulation is going on. It starts with this scene where there's like an explosion, and your character, I presume, is doing whatever he wants during the explosion because he can stop time, it looks like, but also go way in the past or go way in the future, it seems like. Because I think what's going on here, I'm trying to just piece this together, but with a little bit of information that's out there. Some people live forever, and he's trying to find out how, and bring it to light. Because apparently, for whoever these people are, I think they're sacrificing souls, or it's kind of like a Matrix situation where they set them up and basically sacrifice people so other people can live forever. And he's trying to uncover that by going through the different ages. I'm thinking, or maybe it all happens at this timeline. I'm not sure, because in this explosion of the bar, he rewinds and then there's a tree there in the middle of the room. So I don't know if he went back in time or what. But anyway, I would say definitely check out the trailer.
I'm
Because
watching the
it
trailer
is,
right now,
yeah.
and in one of the background scenes in the bar, I think it's one of the immortal people, and he's playing a round of Supremacy 1914, which is so. It's just is it part of the key? I don't know if that
Could
entices you
be.
guys anymore, but yeah.
Somehow that little scene made this game more boring.
Bro, I'm being fucking blasted.
Dying.
I'm being blasted for my love of a
And
great game.
the release date just got pushed back 2 weeks, dude, because of that.
All right, Nick.
We're gonna get a lawsuit. God damn it, dude. Yeah. So big news that happened last week that we didn't talk about because Mimi brain no work good sometimes. Is Elden Ring got a DLC announced. It's coming out June 21st, 2024. It is $40. Now, granted, if you're an Elden Ring fan or you're a FromSoft fan, you know that their DLCs are insane. They're usually either half as big or even bigger than like the maps that are available to you before the DLC. Not much is known about this except for it has to deal with the brother of one of the main characters. It's like a lady who has like flower wings and everything. There's new land, dungeons, bosses, items, weapons, spells, and NPCs. They did not write anything new for this expansion in the sense that they didn't ask George R. R. Martin to come in and like write some more stuff. Apparently, this is all stuff that they already had or just are branching off of. Yeah, I'm excited to see this. I'm probably going to be picking up Elden Ring for PC anyways, and then buying this on PC. I just don't want to play PS5 downstairs, and I want to talk to my friends as we play.
Did you pick up? I'm sorry. Did you finish the first one, Nick?
Yeah. I beat it
wow.
twice.
Damn. Crazy.
Yeah,
Why'd
great
you
game.
do it twice? What's the second playthrough as a different character?
Yeah. So the first time I went through as Mimi brain no work good, aka I smash everything with a giant sword or axe or something that's giant, which is always fun. But the thing about Elden Ring compared to all the FromSoft games is that it has the biggest variety of spells, and I've always wanted to do a magic playthrough, but it's not really like my speed. So I was like, fuck it, let's just try, right? I tried it, I loved it. I got to do a different ending. The first ending I did like the objectively goodish one, but the second one I did the ending for the loathsome dung eater, who is one of the most deplorable characters in the game. Like truly a depraved person. He eats people, eats their poop, R words their bodies, all kinds of stuff. And you have to assume his identity, and is a very, very hard ending because there's so many things that you have to do to get it. But it's like it makes the game harder to do that ending, definitely. Other than that, yeah, if you like Elden Ring, good news, new shit's coming out in like 3 months.
Nice. Very nice. They can definitely they can probably charge $50 and people would buy it.
Well, they're doing that whole editions thing, which makes people believe that the game is going to be like 2/3 as big as Elden Ring, because it's a new land, and a new land means a massive map from compared to like what's already existing in the thing. Because right now there's I think 6 lands, and they're all humongous. Like this is the first one that they give you a horse in because there's so much to do and so much variation. It's no World War I turn-based game, but it's it's definitely something.
It still gets the juices flowing. It manages barely, but
it's definitely a day one pickup for me. They don't really come out with stuff that doesn't work, which is a nice reputation to have, unlike EA. Fuck you for Battlefront 2.
Was that EA?
That's it.
Was that EA?
Yeah.
No, he's saying that. He's saying that like EA always has day one issues and FromSoft never does.
Oh, okay. But not for the recent Battlefront 2. Just don't want to make sure we don't blame EA for things they didn't
No,
do.
the newest Battlefront 2, the one with the modern graphics and everything.
That one came out
had
bad
a
too?
super long, super bad launch.
Oh, okay. I didn't like that
Yeah.
game. I liked how it looked. Guess that sound. Guys, we're guessing a sound. This is the sound? That's all you have to do. That's literally, you just have to tell me what that sound is from, what game is it from, and what's happening. I'm not asking that much from you people. But no one has guessed it. You can email pixelshitshow@gmail.com to guess, and there's $90 in the pot if you get it right. This week, I chose at random an answer from Cricket Soldier, who says that sound is a combined bullet ricochet from Half-Life 2. How are we feeling about this guess, guys?
Well, I think, you're taking them out of sequence, right? So now, because Half-Life 2 is in a mod, but so it sounds like he's not listening to the hints, but he probably made this before that was a hint, right?
No.
Before, well, mod and crowbar are both hints here.
Yeah.
He sent this guess in on March 6th. Look, I have to pick him. I can't just choose favorites on my end.
Yeah.
He sent this last week.
Okay. Well, I don't think bullet or crowbar shoot bullets, so I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
I'm no gunsmith or armorer, but I'm pretty sure.
I never finished Half-Life 2, so I could be wrong here.
I'm not an expert. Crowbars do weird things. Yeah, Cricket. Sorry about that, dude. It's not right. The current hints are first person, melee, key there, mod, valve, and crowbar. You can send your guesses again to pixelshitshow@gmail.com, and next week there'll be $95 in the pot. Buy yourself something.
It's not a ranged crowbar. It's a melee crowbar. Not one of those fancy new ones. There's no scope on this crowbar.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we've trashed the listeners enough for one segment. Emilio, subs and donos.
Recycled a sub for 67 months, dude. So long. I didn't even know I was 67 months old. That's insane, dude. Thank you so much.
We should have a party at 69. We should do something special at 69 months when he subs for 69 months.
Yeah, because he's been recycling since he's been subscribing since
Since the beginning of time.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's been subscribing since our first stream. So 67 months is how long we've been streaming. So yeah, 69 months streaming, cause for celebration right there.
Thanks, homie.
Perfect. Cool. Bobby, listener questions. What do we got?
We got a few of them. The first one comes from Zap. What's your favorite piece of your gaming setup?
That's a great question, man. I guess my monitor. I have a Predator X35, X34, ultra wide. It's old now, but when I got it, it was fucking awesome. I mean, look, it's the thing that you look at all the time. You cannot operate a computer without a fucking monitor. Might as well get the nicest one you can afford. I have this. I don't splurge a lot, but on things that I use daily, I like to have a nice one, a nice car, a nice monitor. I wish I could use my computer daily, but so try to. If you drink coffee every day, make sure you have the best tumbler possible. That's the way I look at things.
Wow, that was some life advice there. The favorite part of my gaming setup is something completely that you don't need. It's a huge mouse pad, and mine is a little diagram of every transit system in the world. Every little city has a different line, and you can see Tokyo, Berlin, Paris, all of the cool ones. And yeah, that's the favorite part of my gaming setup because I made this custom. And custom
because nobody would pre-print that.
What the fuck is this? Roast the sniper episode? What the fuck's your problem?
Sorry, man.
Transit. Everyone loves transit, so I hear.
I'm sure those giant mouse pads are like really in vogue right now. I've got like a little tiny Steel Series one. Like here's mine. It's super dirty. You can see I also use it as like a
Come on,
coaster.
apparently.
Yeah. No, that's where I put my water right there. Probably not a great spot right next to my mouse, but I don't move my mouse like that much. It's set to a high sensitivity. So I've got like this little tiny, like the smallest mouse pad you can possibly get. But everyone's going for the big ones that go underneath the keyboard.
Yeah, objectively, much better, dude. It's better in
Yeah.
every way. Yeah.
Bobby, you don't even
Definitely.
show up to Lorcan night with a playmat. So I mean,
Yeah, I just
what
don't
can we
like
expect?
playmats, dude. Apparently.
There's no welcome mat out front. He doesn't have any friends named Matt. Just,
He has a dartboard that says Matt, and he just throws stuff at it. He's like, never.
You guys are killing me this episode. Dude. I'm trying not to cough in this goddamn mic. Oh man.
I don't
As
know
far
if
as
I
my
have a-
favorite piece,
Go ahead.
Bobby. I was about to say, as far as my favorite piece of gaming setup, it's definitely going to be my monitor stand. As weird as it sounds, or it's one of those things that it clamps onto your desk or table, and then it has two branching arms to hold both of your screens, so you don't have two stands on your table. Yeah, it's freed up so much room under my desk or under my monitors so that I can put like my audio tech and like drinks and stuff and food and things.
and
like
can
that.
you spin them?
Yeah, I can spin them.
Yeah, that's the best. The only other thing I know a lot of people are doing over under now. It probably can't do that, right?
You can do no. This one can't. No,
Yeah.
it was like another $20 to be able to do that, but I was like, meh. I guess
Yeah,
it's a gift.
JP Diddy has it, and I don't know. It seems weird. Like, where do you put your webcam? But anyway, yeah. Anybody rocking the over under right now?
For monitor setup?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got identical. It's all right, man. Like I've not found a monitor setup that I like. The over under works all right for me, but it is like kind of I don't like to crane my neck to look up there. It's an inconvenience, but it's better than having it on the side. I don't know if this is like my favorite piece of equipment, but I will say that I really like my mouse. So this is a Cooler Master MM710, and I've been through a lot of mice, but this one is just very simple, and it's got this like honeycomb pattern here. You can see it's kind of like see-through. So it makes it very, very light, and it's just a very plain looking mouse that fits in with everything I got here, and it helps my hand breathe a little bit better when I'm playing with it. It doesn't get as gross as other mice too, because there's just not as much surface area. So I really like this one. I don't even know if they still sell them. I've considered like buying a backup one just for when this one stops working. But
More and more companies are doing that like
the honeycomb thing, yeah.
yeah,
I
the
think it's
honeycomb
catching
thing.
on.
So I don't think you'll have it, but to have the exact same one, yeah, that might be harder.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
That's a great question, man. Thank you.
Next question. This is from the Lotion. Do you guys name your other devices with your gamer tag?
What
does
does
that
that
mean?
mean?
Not sure exactly.
Like, do we use our gamer tags and other things on other devices?
Yeah, like, when you connect from Spotify to your wireless headphones, it's like A10 headphones, but you can rename that device to like Sasquatch's balls or whatever you want.
No, I've never done that.
No, I don't, Russian hacker. I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
And there's
what are
logic
they?
is not my username on my bank account. Thank you very much.
I don't use the same password for literally everything. It's definitely not his middle name and birthday.
Thank
No.
God you can't see people's username for Steam. You can see their profile name and what they've set, but the
Oh, yeah.
actual name that you use to log in, everybody hates theirs because they made it when they were like 12.
Yeah. I don't use that one anymore. Cyber Grifter. Dude, Cyber Grifter? That was my first one.
God,
Wow.
how did you not cut yourself on all that edge, dude? I swear to God. Jesus.
The compound words are have I told you the story where my brother finally gave himself a gamer tag that wasn't just his first name and last name, and he went with copious multitude? Like, dude, You're 27 years old. Like, surely there's something else out there for you. But maybe everyone's first is like that.
you gotta. It's like they say about script writing. You got to get through like all the bad ones before you start telling the good ones. You got to tell all your bad stories, get them out of your system before you start telling the good ones. All right, next question from Comfy Unicycle. Pie Day was this week. What is your favorite pie, homemade or store bought?
Rhubarb,
I got a fat people.
Saskatoon, and every other pie can fuck off. Rhubarb, Saskatoon, that is clearly the S plus tier.
I know
One
I
pie,
know what rhubarb
rhubarb's-
is, but what is Saskatoon?
Isn't that an area in Canada?
Yeah, that's what the berry's named after. You guys have a word for it too. Saskatoon berry in America is called like service berries, prayer berries, June berries. Any of that?
June berries. The newest Red Bull flavor is June berry. It's all right. I like it.
They should have named it Saskatoon. That would have sounded way better.
Yeah, Saskatoon sounds way cooler.
Pass me a Saskatoon Red Bull, dude. I'm about to go to the moon.
Can I get a Saskatoon and vodka, please?
Yeah.
Wow. And, I'm kind of surprised. This question was so funny because it made me remember something. When I was in Portland, I think, back in like 2015, just visiting up there for a few days, an Uber driver picked me up and he was real chatty. You know how some Uber drivers just want to chat you up. And this guy was like, at some point he asked me what my favorite pie was, and I could tell it was one of those questions where he didn't really care what my favorite pie was. He wanted to tell me what his favorite pie.
That's when you go on a super long rant about your favorite pie, dude, and never let them get in.
You start off with, you know what? I actually don't really like pie, but I like cake. Let me tell you about my favorite type of cake. Instead of coming from this, and you just go on, and that guy doesn't want to talk to you anymore.
Anyways, Saskatoon berry in America, you guys call it.
Yeah, I don't really eat pie, but I guess I'd go with the classic apple pie. I mean, it's
Julian apple pie is pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah, I'll take a slice of pumpkin pie, like if it's in season, but there's so much sugar, man. Like it just goes right to me.
I'd probably say pumpkin pie. Yeah, pumpkin pie probably.
All right.
My favorite pie is a pie that's from a place in Georgia. Unfortunately, I can't get it anymore. It's called the Pie Hole. It is triple berry pie. It is blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries, I believe. And it was the best. It had like that crumbly topping that they put on top of fucking apple pie and shit. And it was so good. So good that when my parents visited, I bought two and they wanted to take the other one home.
This is my
Dude, I've had multiple people visit me, and then they have our tortillas, and then they either ship tortillas to themselves or put them in their suitcase, or they go and buy it because they're so good here. Local stuff. It's so weird that in this connected world we can't get New York pizza globally or whatever. All those
Thank
things.
God, dude. Thank God we're not just a homogenized fucking planet. Like, there's something special.
But that's the Helldivers
local.
feature. You don't want that. You don't want liberty for everybody and democracy.
That's true. I do have to change my opinion on Freedom Fridays. I do want a homogenized planet.
Give me a homogenized Fridays, please.
Yeah. Yeah. A small aside. Have any of you guys joined a pie eating contest? I hear that's a very American thing, and I just want to poll the room. Pie eating contest?
No, only a hot dog.
The only thing I've ever done is a spaghetti eating contest, and I won. Yeah.
No eating contests of any type for me. I know if you look at this body and you're just like, how is that possible?
I forgot who it was, but they brought Texas Twinkies to the house. I think it was JP Diddy. And I was like, oh my God, that looks so good. And I had like two of them, and Bobby just looks at it and he goes, I cannot have that. He doesn't have any allergies or anything. He's just like, there's no way. But you ended up eating one or half of one?
Yeah, I tried some. But it was just like a Texas Twinkie is some sort of meat wrapped in bacon.
Yeah,
it's a stuffed jalapeno wrapped in bacon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was a bit much. But that's food in Texas, man. It's wild out there. All right.
It
Last
is.
question from Was Hingle McCringleberry. He's got a few questions here. If you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Japan.
Yeah. And I'm actually, well, we're playing with the idea going at the end of the year. But that needs to be planned already right now, and we're not doing it, so we'll see.
To Japan as well, like both of you.
Yeah, to Japan.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I guess their winter season is their low season, but it's cheaper to fly there. So, but if you think about it, like all the things that I'm interested, most of the things I'm interested in Tokyo is like indoor stuff, So I don't know, maybe do a winter trip, but I don't know. We'll see. It's only $800.
I would
it's
go
not
to
bad.
New York. Me and Rianne were supposed to go to New York right before COVID happened, as COVID was happening, actually. And then COVID did happen. So we cosplayed Rianne as the statue of Reberty. And we had a fun little staycation where we pretended to be in New York. But I've always, it was actually a huge bummer. And it was a lot of money kind of, down the drain. Couldn't get returns on a lot of stuff. Because no one was making money and no one could afford returns like Airbnb, flights. It was all spent. But something about New York just fascinates me about like how dense and how people are and like the food. So I would really love to go there. And that's the place.
I stayed in New York for 11 days, and it wasn't even close to the amount of time to be able to explore like 30% of the city. It's so insane. It's so fun, but it's so insane.
New York's crazy. I haven't been in almost 20 years. It's been a long time, but I've been talking about going back. I think my girlfriend and I might be making a trip there because it's not like super far like Europe. Don't have to deal with passports and stuff, but yeah, it's a crazy town. And I believe he's asking this question because he recently visited Japan. And I think he posted those pictures in Discord.
Oh, yeah. Those pictures are awesome, dude, by the way. I know I'm talking to one person, but like, I love looking at
well,
them.
other people can check them out.
Yeah.
Okay, so his follow-up question, if you could travel to a fictional place, where would you go?
Ooh, the first thing that jumped in my head it was Pandora from Avatar, but I'd die instantly. Like, it'd be terrible.
Unless you became one of the Na'vi and inherited them in Avatar form.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll have to rethink my thought on that.
Okay, I'd like to go to Jurassic Park, but like not the dinosaurs don't get loose and eat people. Like
a functioning park.
Yeah, a functioning park like the one from Jurassic World. I'd like to go to Jurassic World. That's what I'm saying.
2 weeks before the events of what happened in the movie.
Yeah, I was on the first boat out of there before all that stuff happened.
Yeah. What about you, Sniper?
Maybe the holodeck in Star Trek.
Well,
Because
yeah, fuck yeah,
Hell yeah, dude.
It was always, the non-disgusting.
That's the dream.
Obviously, there's like porn and stuff, but you can like go in every historical. You can go to the medieval ages with no consequences. You can see how people lived and whatever, and you can make your own stories and upload them on the holodeck. And I just feel like those were always some of the most interesting episodes. And I would love to take a trip on the holodeck.
Yeah, remember Picard used to go on there and like he loved playing detective, right? Or he was Sherlock Holmes, I think.
Yeah. And he would like act out some of the books. So awesome. Cool.
Yeah. It's so good.
It is really cool.
That's
a really
That's
good
the
answer.
ultimate dream. You're a god. While you're inside of there, you're a god, basically. I always thought about like I would love to defend Helm's Deep in different ways over and over and over. You know what I mean? Just like see what works. Maybe give me a machine gun one time or whatever.
Like that game that was released or that was announced some weeks ago. Yeah.
All right. Final question.
Wait.
Did we get Nick?
I'll make mine super quick. There's a Magic the Gathering universe. It's called the Ravnica, or planet. It's called Ravnica. It's essentially this giant city planet, and then like the other like 15th of it is a giant forest, and it's like the nicest and most developed area of all of Magic the Gathering, and like you can learn magic even though you're like not like, even if I'm human, I obviously don't know magic now, but what I could do is I could go to the college and learn magic there, and they can like imbue me with abilities and shit. So I'm like, yeah, no, fuck it. I would rather go there and just explore that universe.
Um, Now that you said dense, it reminded me what I would really want to say. When you guys were talking about New York being dense, imagine Coruscant, like a planet that's a fucking super packed city. It's got to have so much shit in it, dude. It's got to be sweet if you have a bunch of money, anyway.
Yeah, Coruscant expensive, and I hear Coruscanti people are not the friendliest.
Yeah, bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
All right. Surprised we made it to that question without anyone saying Arrakis or something.
Why would you want to go to Arrakis?
Yeah, what the fuck? Do you want
Surf
to
on a
die?
sandworm.
Dude, fuck Arrakis.
So you could just go in one place, walk in an area, and get high as fuck. All you have to do is go
and then
outside.
die of dehydration within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Have you ever tried a fruit sandwich? And what's the strangest sandwich you've had?
Well, I mean, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is half of a fruit sandwich, I guess, if you want to be technical about it. But other than
It's
that,
on
no.
the fruit sandwich spectrum for sure.
Definitely.
Hmm.
I have not had a fruit sandwich, but the strangest sandwich I've ever had is one time I was living with my friends and we were kind of broke, and my buddy was like, "Hey, do you want an anchovy sandwich?" And I was like, or a sardine sandwich, that's what it was. And I was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I love tuna sandwiches, but I'll try anything." And it turns out we had like 2 tins of sardines, and he mixed them up like tuna, and it was not good. It was not good at all, dude.
I
I'm not a
remember
big sardine person.
my niece and me, we were like challenging each other, trying to make gross sandwiches for each other. So we were just throwing everything in there. It was really just a waste of food because we would take one bite and be like, "Ew," and throw it away. So I ate the sandwich.
Pickles and bleach, disgusting. I can't think of the strangest sandwich. I've definitely never had a sandwich that just has fruit in it, like apples or I guess maybe bananas and peanut butter. Yeah,
Yeah. The old Elvis sandwich.
Here we go. Did everybody answer?
Yeah. I haven't had any exciting sandwiches.
Shocking.
A question for everybody. You could only have sandwiches, all spectrum of sandwiches, for the rest of your life, or burritos, all spectrum of burritos for the rest of your life. No wraps. You can't have a wrap because that's somewhere in between. But like burritos or sandwiches for the rest of your life, choose.
I feel like sandwiches would be healthier, but I would prefer burritos.
Yeah.
I would say sandwich only because the variance of sandwiches
Yeah.
is way higher than the variance of
Yeah. It's like breakfast
burritos.
burritos and like hearty burritos.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There's really not a whole lot of variety with burritos. It's like all the same stuff in them.
Although
minus
fish
a few
burritos are pretty good.
Sometimes they throw in some Cheetos and mix it up. But
my favorite sandwich is taking the dinner buns from Thanksgiving and throwing Thanksgiving dinner in there. That's got to be one of the best sandwiches. You can't do that with a burrito, really.
No,
So
definitely.
sandwiches all
burrito.
around, or Bobby said burrito, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with burritos.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. That is all our questions. What's everyone playing this week?
But first, we want to ask, we used to do interviews on this podcast. We used to talk to devs and magazine editors and writers, and we haven't done it in a really long time. Would you like for us to start again? Give us some feedback. Don't we have a place for that, Bobby? Or you guys, other people that aren't
Yes, in Discord, a channel called Feedback.
Yep. So go there. Let us know. Do you want to hear more interviews? That would be more of a one-on-one or a two-on-one format, generally, because 4 people plus one other person is a mess, especially with the way we're doing audio these days. But yeah, let us know. Is that something you would like?
Cool. What am I playing? I don't fucking know. I want to stop playing Supremacy 1914. But that's not going to end until June.
Are you ever really playing it? It seems like you're just adjusting once
am I
in a
playing
while.
it, or does it take up so much brain space that I'm never stop thinking about it because I'm always thinking about like my next move? I really want to, go back into Helldivers. I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to anything in the next couple weeks that's coming out, so difficult for me to say.
Yeah, Helldivers, Last Epoch, and fucking. I mean, I'm not going to play any of this because I'm working 70 hours, but Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I've still been playing a lot of the stuff I've been talking about recently, like Deep Rock Galactic, Survivor. But I will probably continue playing Last Epoch this week.
And maybe some Magic with Emilio, Bobby.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'd be down tonight if you want to make the drive.
I wouldn't be able to tonight. I've got some time coming. Well, no, I don't. But things are going to be lighter at work because of spring break in the first week of April. But I should have time before then, actually. But we'll figure that out. Yeah,
Okay.
I do want to check out that Fallout game.
Cool.
Nick, what are you up to?
I will be continuing to play Fallout until Fallout TV show comes out. I'll be raiding, and then I will be playing Baldur's Gate on Fridays. And I'll be playing Helldivers whenever my friends are on and they ask me to play Helldivers with them.
Sweet. And that's a show. Speaking for Christian, Nick, Bobby, and myself. Until then, Helldiver titties. Hell titties. Democracy titties. Anti-tyranny titties. How about that? I gotta go, guys.
Stop
Before
your
you do,
Hold on.
and before you stop,